Have you ever heard the story about the mountain climbing bow tie wearing bisexual wizard?
No, but I feel like I should have.
Today we're talking about Aleister Crowley, one of the most famous English occultists of the Victorian era. He was born in 1875 during a storm that uprooted trees, destroyed crops, killed livestock, and drowned 2 people, something that led his mother to dub him the Beast, a nickname that Aleister quite enjoyed, even signing letters 666 all through adulthood. From a young age, Crowley was naturally curious and put a strain on his incredibly religious parents, who didn't understand his eccentric nature. Aleister recalled being warned by his father not to touch some stinging nettles, asking him, "Would you rather take my word for it or learn by experience?" Aleister responded confidently, "I would rather learn by experience," and dove headfirst into the pile of nettles. His father ran a very successful brewing company that even author Charles Dickens noted the popularity of. When Aleister was 11, his father died of tongue cancer, and Aleister acquired a third of his wealth, around $2 million today. He was removed from school when he developed a severe kidney problem and was told he wasn't expected to make it to adulthood. While he was recovering from his illness, Aleister went through many tutors, all of which he considered to be mentally inferior and who were ultimately dismissed.
Right, was this just teenage ego, or was he actually smart?
He was actually smart, yeah. There's a good chance that they actually couldn't keep up with him. When Aleister and his cousin decided that they were going to climb Beachy Head in England, he discovered his love for mountain climbing. They completed several of the routes, and finding himself stuck on a ledge, Aleister scooped out a hole in the rock, planted his chin in it, and used his free hands to haul himself up.
I mean, people say use your head.
This is exactly what they mean.
You know, I always wondered.
They successfully climbed the Devil's Chimney, being the first people ever to do so. He started to attend Trinity College in Cambridge and skipped classes regularly in favour of playing chess, even competing against Winston Churchill's cousin George, although he lost, but still passed all of his exams with flying colours.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
Crowley was vacationing in Stockholm when he discovered his bisexuality. He wrote, "He who seduced me first I could not forget. I hardly loved him but desired to taste a new strong sin."
Damn, that's kinda hot.
I know. A year later, he met Herbert Charles Powlett, who went by Jerome, the head of the Footlights Dramatic Club at Cambridge. Charles was known to dress in full drag and become the beautiful dancer Diane de Ruffy. He was very widely known around Cambridge for his spectacle. Aleister and Jerome soon began a relationship. Aleister states, "I lived with Powlett as his wife for some 6 months, and he made a poet out of me," but they eventually separated because of Aleister's growing interest in the occult, which Jerome was not supportive of. Crowley privately published 100 copies of compilations of his poems, though they weren't very popular. One of the books is called White Stains.
I can only imagine the cover.
A gathering of multiple erotic poems, but like Victorian-era erotic poems, where the muse's gender is never expressly mentioned.
Yeah, that's what we want. Like genderless, gender-neutral, horny poetry.
Yes. David Bowie actually references White Stains in his song Station to Station. He then left Cambridge without a degree because he felt he had completely mastered the subjects and that was good enough for him. On a climb in Scotland, Aleister reached the peak he was conquering and spotted Boleskine House on the shores of Loch Ness. He instantly fell in love and purchased it. Jimmy Page, the lead guitarist of Led Zeppelin, purchased the house decades later because of Crowley's notorious demon summonings.
That's so f***ing metal.
Aleister developed a love for Scottish culture, calling himself the Laird of Boleskine and wearing the tartan of the MacGregor clan. He posted signs around his property stating, "Beware the ichthyosaurus and the dinosaurs are out today." In Switzerland, Crowley discovered the occult society known as the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, an order which Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was asked to join but refused. Soon after, he was initiated into the Golden Dawn. He progressed rapidly through the degrees and was expecting to be initiated into the Second Order, but other members of the group weren't a fan of his bisexuality, and after many legal complications where Aleister might have sort of tried to seize a vault or something, a couple of years later he left the order. He then traveled to Mexico where he practiced the act of invisibility. Aleister considered himself successful when he was able to stroll around Mexico City in a scarlet robe and crown without attracting any attention.
Oh, they could definitely see him.
Yes, definitely. Crowley and some friends decided to climb the Colima volcano, the most dangerous volcano in North America. As they began their climb, the volcano erupted, spewing ash into the air and burning holes in their clothes, but this didn't deter them.
Wait. They climbed an erupting volcano?
Yes, they turned around when the soles of their shoes started to melt, though.
Oh, how wise of them.
In India, Aleister and several others ventured to climb K2, a mountain that had never before been conquered. but due to the relentless storms and unsafe conditions, the expedition was forced to turn around. Traveling back to Paris, Aleister met and married Rose Edith Kelly, who confided in him that after her husband's death, she said yes to 2 different men that proposed to her at the same time, who were both coming back to Paris to marry her.
Damn, that's common. That's happened to me like 3 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I should stop saying yes, but...
Crowley was intrigued and offered to marry her to save her from the predicament. The newlyweds traveled to Cairo for their honeymoon, where Aleister organized for them to have dinner in the Great Pyramid of Giza. After their meal, he dismissed the servers, took the dinner candles, and took Rose down to the king's burial chamber.
Oh, did they f*** on a mummy?
While camping beside a lake with his pregnant wife, Aleister heard squealing and turned around to find his naked wife clinging to the mosquito netting frame, shrieking like a bat. She wouldn't respond to his voice and resisted efforts to help her down. She was fine in the morning, but he wasn't sure whether to attribute the whole thing to pregnancy or possession. His own words.
Damn. I mean, let's be real. When you're pregnant, everyone acts like a bat.
What are you talking about? Back in Cairo, when Aleister was attempting to summon sylphs, spirits of the air, Rose's eyes glazed over and she muttered, "They are waiting for you," several times. Aleister questioned her, and she responded, "He who waits is Horus." Rose had never heard of or read about the god, but she told him Horus's corresponding color, weapon, planet, and numbers, as well as his moral qualities and his enemy. She was correct in every instance, and the chances of her guessing them all correctly are close to impossible.
Oh, shit.
Little weird.
Little weird.
She also led him to Horus's exhibit, and the exhibit number was 666.
And he's the beast!
He actually referred to himself as the beast in third person.
What, like, the beast does not like this?
Yes, sometimes, yeah.
That's the moment you need to leave a conversation. When the other person is just like, the beast does not like this, just fucking run.
A day later, Aleister heard a voice that told him he was a prophet and that he must write down what he heard. After 3 days, Aleister had written the Book of the Law, the first book of the religion he developed called Thelema. He admitted he didn't have a clue what to do with it, so he sent the manuscript to some occultists he was friends with and shoved it in a drawer.
This god told me to do this, but I can't be bothered, so you deal with it.
Exactly. Back in Scotland, Rose gave birth to their daughter Lilith.
Lilith?
Lilith.
Where have I heard that name before?
She's Satan's... is not the right word. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
What's the word again? You can't say...
You can't say...
Crowley met Victor Neberg, who became his lover in 1907. The couple traveled to Algeria, where they performed a mountaintop sex ritual and an evocation to the demon Corazon, involving a blood sacrifice. Neberg decided to distance himself from Aleister, so Aleister put a curse on him. But I'm not really sure about the level of severity, like dying a horrible death, or just like your shoes always untie themselves.
Always curse your exes. Just make their life slightly shittier without you.
So the shoelaces then is what we're going with.
Yeah, no murder. Just like, they always walk into stuff, or they're always slightly sticky.
With the start of the First World War, Aleister became a double agent working for the British intelligence services to infiltrate and undermine Germany's operation in New York.
So he was a spy inside German propaganda? It was kind of badass.
He came back to London after the war and was suffering from asthma, for which the doctor prescribed him heroin.
That's,
With help from a friend, Aleister faked his own death at the Boca de Inferno in Portugal by leaving a suicide note in mangled Portuguese and Thelemic symbols. He then reappeared 3 weeks later at the opening of his art exhibition in Germany.
Wow.
Wow is correct.